Hello and welcome to another knitting pod. I am Lena and I am coming to you from Boulder, Colorado, where we sit and chat about fun, fibery stuff, knitting patterns, other making joys. And if you're in the mood for that, then you're in the right place. I'm so glad you're here. If you're returning, you know how this goes. We do fiber content first, life content second, and let's jump right into it. I'm so happy that you're here. Yesterday, I was thinking to myself, I don't feel like I have a lot to talk about. And then I laughed and I laughed because if I give it like 2 seconds of thought, I have a lot to talk about because it's me and I could talk to a wall. Anyway, I'd rather be talking to you than a wall. So let's jump right into it. I have a finished object to show you. My Girl's Best Friend Shawl by Isabel Kramer is done. Here it is. I'll try to hold it back before I drape it over my shoulders. It's pretty deep. Anyway, it's a symmetrical top-down triangular shawl. I made mine in 6 and 7 fibers in their alfalfa base. I bought a kit at my local yarn shop, Lula Fay Fibers. If you've watched my past couple of episodes, you know all about how obsessed I am with this yarn. Like I said, it's called the alfalfa base, and it is a merino cashmere nylon blend. And I am telling you, that cashmere makes a difference. Sometimes one feels skeptical and is like, is that label and the price when cashmere is included in a fiber, does it actually matter? This fiber made me realize it really does matter. It is just absolutely magical, you guys. I'll hold it a little closer just to give you one last look before, since you won't see it really again. And then there's the beautiful acorn pattern that she has, which is just so stunning. And then the gorgeous border, which is a 3x1 rib. And I can't tell you how much I love this shawl. It is a new favorite. Let's see, like I said, the fiber is just glorious. It's so round and thick and soft. And I'm telling you, after blocking, I loved it in the skein. I loved it in, it has just such a lovely feel when you're knitting, but the way it blocked out, y'all, I'm telling you, possibly my favorite fiber. I just absolutely love it. It's so buttery and silky. Like, I wore it out last night. I had dinner with some friends and I wore it, and it just was like the most luxurious feeling shawl I have. I am not even going to worry about overselling 6 and 7 fibers because it's that good. And of course, the weekend I was out of town, they were actually here having a trunk show at Lula Fay. But my hope is, even though I missed that she left behind some more fingering weight stuff in this base that I can go get maybe tomorrow when I'm closer down into Boulder, because I 100% will be knitting with this fiber again. I just love it. Real quick, this was 3 Kisses. This is oak, and then the border color is Morning Light. And knit up, like in the skein, I'm gonna try to show you a little bit better. In the skein, this Morning Light shade did not look very speckled at all. But then, like, if you look at it knit up, it has just the perfect amount of speckles, in my opinion. Like sometimes things look super funky and cool in the skein, and then you knit them up and they're too speckled and too busy. This I thought was gonna barely have any variation in the yarn, and I was very wrong. It has so much. It's just like the perfect bit of variation, to keep it interesting, to keep it from not being just like a flat color. Brilliant. Absolutely love it. My only disappointment is it's not the size I would like it to be. I would definitely prefer it to be larger. I think I'm used to my beloved Stephen West's very large shawls, and that's how I like them. I like them to be big enough to kind of just wrap yourself up in, and they just have this lovely drape, but not so long that it's like to my ankles, which I have a shawl like that, which I don't wear that often because it's just too big. This is just too small for me. And it happened because this panel should have been a lot bigger, but I ran out of yarn. And then I have a lot of morning light left, but I felt like if I kept going on the border, it was going to be very out of proportion. Like then the border was going to look like, why is this giant ribbed border? Do you know what I'm saying? So in retrospect, with the kit that I had, I would have made these sections, there's these 2-row, just want to make sure I'm showing you the right side. See that one stripe of morning light? I would have made those stripes like thicker or something to use up the morning light in the body of the shawl, and I think it would have been beautiful. So if you somehow got your hands on this particular dyer's kit, there's definitely not enough yarn for what the shawl should be. Like the shawl should have been larger. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not mad about not having to knit more of this section because it was tedious by the end. I was not like, ooh, please let me get more of that. I was definitely not, because these rows got long, but I would have loved to add more of this morning light in there. But whatever. It's totally fine. I still will adore it. And my friends yesterday that I went to dinner with, even they were like, wow, that shawl is gorgeous. And these are not yarny people, y'all. Like they wouldn't know if, Stephen West walked right past them. If you could imagine the horror that people don't knit and don't understand what's so important to us. But anyway, even my friends who don't knit thought it was beautiful. And my husband said it's one of his favorite shawls I've ever knit. So I just can't recommend it enough. What else? Do I have anything else to say about it? I don't think so. I think we've talked about it for several weeks now. It took me about a month, which is really nothing for a fingering weight shawl. I started it on Mother's Day. It was my Mother's Day cast on, and it's done by Father's Day. So yay. Super happy with the way it turned out. And summer, I told you guys last time, I'm just so heavily into shawls right now, which is so unexpected for me. And I just realized last night when I went to dinner, that I was wearing a summer dress and I just grabbed the shawl, and it's just so perfect. Whereas in winter, when it's so cold and you've got a big jacket on, it's almost the shawl just feels like another layer to manage. But in the warmer months, it's just such a pleasant layer, and it just adds you, right? Like you could be wearing a completely store-bought outfit and you wear your shawl and you just feel like it's your outfit. It's no longer this dime a dozen dress that anybody could have bought. It's something that's so you and so special. And I think that's why I'm just really, really into shawls right now. I think it's the summer of shawls for me, which it just seems counterintuitive, right? Because shawls don't seem appropriate for the warmer months. But for me, I'm going with it. I'm going with it, y'all. Speaking of shawls, I cast on my Pride shawl. It is well on its way, and every time I work on it, I think of you guys because it's just so fun. It's just so fun. If you didn't watch last time, I am talking about the Painting Bricks shawl by Stephen West, and here is my little baby shawl. It's like a toddler right now. I started with this color that is one of my absolute favorite colors. It's Madeline Tosh Wino Forever, and I just love it. And I have literally I had 10 grams left I used it in one of the Stephen West MCALs, And I have used this precious bit of yarn in so many projects, and I love it so much. And this is what I love about precious leftovers, okay? They are not like, just enjoy them. Like, even if it's like, put them in a bowl and put them on your side table or your bedside table. And then when you get to use them, it's so special. Like, I've used 1 gram in this project and 2 grams in that project. I still probably have 2 or 3 grams left. So just value those gorgeous scraps. Don't just toss them aside and forget about them. This is why Stephen West projects are so fun, because you get to, you know, weave together all those scraps into one gorgeous pattern. Anyway, this is also one of my favorites. And oh, it's Slumber Party. We talked about this last week. But anyway, I'm through these. And this is oak from this shawl. This is because I had a little bit left over. And I wanted to kind of ground all the bright colors with some deeper, you know, earthier colors. So I used this burnt orange and this gorgeous oak color. And I have my basket here. I am flying through, you guys. I know you start with like shorter rows, so of course they go by faster, but there's something about anything with stripes or some sort of pattern like this that just makes you want to, it just makes it like you can sit down and work on one row and you don't feel like you just feel so accomplished by the end. Do you know what I mean? Like, each of these bricks is 4 rows. So getting through one is such a doable little nugget of fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know very few people have just like luxuriant swaths of time to knit, but like, when you get a little bit of time and you get to feel like this little burst of joy at finishing one of the brick rows, it's just, if you know, you know. Anyway, I've been taking out the colors I'm done with, because I'm gonna do one color for all, like, I'm never gonna repeat a color. It's a pride shawl, so I wanna go from, like, I'm going from this deep maroony colors through orange, yellow, green. You know, you guys know the rainbow. You can repeat it yourself. But this is where I am now. I think my next, I'm moving into kind of like this color, which I think is so fun. It is kind of like I don't know what color pink this is, but I love the variations in it. And then I'm going to go into this gorgeous bit. Oh my gosh, y'all, I love this. This is Sunset Dreams by Ching Fiber. I used this in my Satellite Shawl by Andrea Mowry. And then my favorite, Daydream from Hedgehog Fiber. I'm going to go into that. And then I actually, I'm not going to lie, I had to look this up last time. I couldn't remember the name and it drove me crazy. This is Wild Card by Hedgehog Fibers and their sock yarn. So yeah, I'm just so excited about this shawl. And like I said, there's no fear that it's going to be too small, because it's Stephen West and he is very tall. Therefore, I think he designs shawls that are big enough for him. So by virtue, probably big enough for most people. Yeah, so here, I'll give you one last look before. I also have to say, I love the way the back looks. Doesn't that look so cool? And I'm doing the weave and Steven, and I'm weaving in my ends as I go. And if you didn't do that, boo, you're gonna have a gnarly time weaving in ends, because this is a lot of ends. And the one thing I'll say about weaving in as Stephen West, Weave and Steven, is that it does slow you down, right? Because you're winding the end around each new stitch as you go, but it's so worth it. It is so worth doing that. And even then, sometimes like I'll still kind of take a tapestry needle and run the yarn the other way before I snip off the ends, because I'm super paranoid. One time I crocheted this entire huge blanket that was all these squares, and I had made this, it was enormous, y'all. And I didn't weave the center. It was like, you know, in the round, and it was a bunch of double crochets into a magic loop, and the magic loops over time started opening. It was devastating. It was like, it took me forever to make that blanket, and it just completely unraveled basically. So, that's crochet, and that's very different. Magic loop is a very different magic loop in crochet, not knitting. It's just, anyway, if that's ever happened to you, I'm sure you understand how devastating that is. But so that's not going to happen here, obviously, but I like to weave in my ends thoroughly. I am not someone who hates weaving in ends. I'm not going to lie. I find it relaxing. It's mindless. It's kind of like a fun little puzzle to do, like a duplicate stitch on the back. So anyway, what else do I want to say about this? I'm going to scroll up on my notes because y'all, this podcast might be a hot mess because I have not had any time to get my mind together, really, except for like 10 minutes this morning. So it is summer. And Lord knows it's a crazy time. So I just absolutely love this baby. I am going out of town again next week. So the only thing I will say is this is probably not the best traveling project just because you are changing colors a lot. And even though it's super easy, a lot of the rows do have a lot of increases that you kind of have to be conscious. It's not just like every section, the increases are a little different. Sometimes you're not increasing, sometimes you are increasing a lot. So you have to stay pretty attuned to the pattern, like the written pattern. It's not just like, oh, I always increase in these places and I can just go on blindly. So it is easy. I am finding it easier to knit it at home than I did when I was out of town last weekend. But maybe now that the rows are getting longer, I won't be switching colors as much. So we shall see. I am pretty sure this is the project I'll take with me when I go out of town next week. I'll tell you guys about that trip at the end of the podcast. So yeah, that is it for the Painting Bricks shawl. I have made the Painting Honeycombs shawl, the Painting Bricks socks. I think it's just another brilliant Stephen West pattern that just is so impactful. Like you could do this all in neutrals. You could do it all in self-striping yarn. Is that what it's called? You sock knitters use that. Or those, those big cakes of yarn. I know Scapia's had, what was it called? They were big and they color changed throughout. They were so beautiful. There's a couple of brands that do that. I'm not explaining that clearly. I hope you know what I'm talking about. They're just like these big cakes, and then if you look down at them, all the colors just change, and they're so gorgeous. That would be really fun, and then you wouldn't be like managing all these color changes. I just love it. To me, it looks like stained glass almost. Do you know what I mean? Like these garter ridges, they stick up, and then the stockinette colors, they are flatter. So it gives it this dimension. Like you can even see that. Do you see that? And once you block these out, it just changes. It looks 1,000 times better. I know you've heard me rant about blocking, and that's because blocking is magic. It's like if only more things in life were as easy as blocking. Like it made such an impact. You know what I'm saying? It's like posture. If you stand up tall, you just immediately look better and present more confident. It's like that. It's just you block. It's pretty much a nothing burger, and then it's like a transformation. Anyway, so always block your knits, y'all. Always block your knits. Okay, we're zooming through this podcast. I am again, sometimes I have lots of words. Sometimes I'm like, I don't want to keep repeating myself week to week. So Painting Bricks shawl, cannot say enough about it. I will tell you real quick again, this is, the border color is this high country wool in their flock base, and I love it. It is so silky soft, and it has a beautiful plied, it's a 2-ply, it's just gorgeous. I think it's turning out so beautifully, like it's giving that garter stitch border, just like this puffy, beautiful definition. I love it. I love it. So anyway, I will hopefully make a lot of progress in the weeks to come, in the week to come, and share it with you next week. So who is joining in the mystery sock along with my beloved Stephen West? I am going to say I am not letting myself do it. I'm trying to exercise restraint and not do it, y'all. I would like walk off a cliff if Stephen West said it was a mystery walk along, okay? That's how much I love him. If you've been with me, you know that. However, girlfriend is way behind on last year's MCAL, and July, I have decided July is going to be Lena finishes her MCAL from last year knit along, okay? If anybody else is out there, I know a couple of you have said you are also like really needing to finish. Let's finish it July, August, whatever, however long it takes, because boo, we don't want to be like out of the fun when he starts ramping up the next mystery knit along. And y'all, it's June, almost the end of June. October is right around the corner, okay? We need to get our lives together. We do not want to be, flunky West Knits fans. We need to be done with our MCALs. Like 1 year is enough, okay? 1 month, oh hell no. No, never gonna happen. Like I can't do it. There's no expectation from myself to do it. I can't do it. But 1 year, come on now, I can do this. So I'm just I think I'm in clue 4 and I finished one section and now I have to do that same mirror image on the other side and then I have to fill in some center and we'll be in business. I'll have that gorgeous shawl off the needles. And with that one, it's like, truly, even though the mystery is over, I still don't know what it'll feel like on because the shape is so unusual. So I do still feel like there is a mystery element that is pulling me in to finish it. And yes, it's June and I'm already super jazzed about the mystery knit along because I'm thinking he's going to do something completely different and I'm really excited about that. But anyway, back to the mystery sock along. If you are doing it, yes, I can't wait to just feel all the joy. Because, half the joy is watching everybody else's projects, like the colors they chose. And I get so much joy out of that. So if you're doing it, I can't wait to see. I know it's Contrast Blast. I think that's what they were called. And there's going to be cables. I watched his little video yesterday. Oh my God. Whenever Stephen West publishes a new little video on his YouTube channel, I get so excited. It's like my birthday when that happens. Even if it's a project that I'm not doing and it's a tutorial, I still watch it just to hear his voice. It just makes me so happy. And not to fangirl too much, but did you see how cute he has like this white patch in his mustache now? And he just looks so cute. I wish my white patches in my eyebrows looked that cute, but let me tell you, they do not. This is why he's just special. I mean, we can't pull off the things he pulls off. But anyway, he's just so precious and adorable. So I want to know if you're doing the mystery sock along, because I know if I did it, what would happen is I would knit one sock and be so excited, and then I would get distracted by like a shiny, fluffy something and go running off to cast something else on. And then I just have one sock. That's the problem with socks. And I know what you're going to say. Some people knit them 2 at a time. I don't know how. I don't know how to do that. So anyway, that's that. I want to know if you do your mystery sock along though. I'm going to vicariously live through y'all. So I think sock knitting is one of those things where it's like, you're either in it or you're like kind of neutral. And I'm kind of neutral. Sorry. I don't hate me. Like I know there's sock knitters. Like Linda is a huge sock knitter, always has socks on the needles. I'm not a sock knitter. Maybe it's because it's not a mirror knit. You know, their mirror muscles, like people always work their biceps because they can see their biceps in the mirror. I think I want to be able to see my shawl or my sweater or my hat and a sock. Like you don't see that in the mirror. So maybe I just don't feel like I enjoy the finished objects as much. That's just me, pontificating. off the cuff. I don't know if there's any truth to that, or if I just don't really, the other thing is it's so tiny. It kind of gives my hands, like, to keep that tension tight. I feel like my hands get some pressure, but anyway, you don't need to know. You don't need to know why I don't want to knit socks. But anyway, moving on. Do you see my summer brain? It's just like, it's all over the place, y'all, but we're going to go with it. The other thing I was going to say is this morning when I woke up, I don't usually do this, but I opened Instagram for no reason. Sometimes, you like just don't know how to like segue into your day. So you just pick up Instagram. It's probably not the healthiest thing, right? Like we should like meditate or find gratitude. But anyway, I didn't do those things. I opened Instagram. But in this case, I was extremely happy that I did because Linda had posted, first post that popped up for me was Linda, and it was a shawl she had knit for somebody, and it was pictures of that somebody with the shawl zhuzhed around their neck. And it was so unusual. It was a very dark shawl, so in the darkness in the morning, like I couldn't really see, but it was a very interesting shape. And so I read the name and then I went on to Ravelry to see what that pattern was. And it's the striped S-Jan by my beloved. And I remember hearing about that. Like I remember Amy Palco of the Meaningful Stitch had knit a striped S-Jan and she had added all these beads to it. And I don't think I saw the episode where she showed the finished object. So I never really thought about that shawl at all. And again, it's like a deeper cut in the Stephen West portfolio. And I'd never really thought about it. But then as I was looking at the pictures on Ravelry, I started feeling that like obsessed feeling, like must cast on, even knowing full well that I'm in the middle of a Stephen West shawl that I need to finish two Stephen West shawl. I just realized we also the MCAL we just discussed. So that's two Stephen West. I cannot cast on another one. However, you can't get mad if I do, because here's the justification in an old noggin. It is one of those shawls where the entire body is like basically simple garter stitch with some easy eyelets, I believe, in like one or two colors. I mean, I'm sure you can use as many colors as you wanted, but the version I want to do, I'll show you a picture. I found one that was like that, like sudden rainbow sparkles where you're like, everything is clear in my life. I must cast this on in this way. So I want to do like a blush, barely there, like ballerina pink with the mohair border in black. So I don't wear black very much at all. Like I did wear a black dress last week. I do have some basic black kind of things, but black is just not a color. I don't know if it's because I have very black hair that then I feel like it's all black. I am very drawn as a neutral to like a deep, like a camel, or more like into browns, like even this, but I don't have anything knit in black. And I've also heard if you're gonna knit in black, then it's good to do it in the summer months when there's a lot of light. And also this is like the whole body would be that very barely there pink, and then that black, gorgeous, like frilly, frothy border would be in a black mohair. And I'm just like really craving this shawl now, you guys. And it's so different than the Painting Bricks shawl. And I'm not gonna do it. I promise. I'm gonna try to be good and not cast that on. But in reality, it would be the perfect project for traveling next week, because there's no way I would be at the border. It would just be this like easy garter stitch pattern. And the more I'm talking about it, the more I'm realizing this is a car trip, a road trip. So I'm gonna be in the car so much. I already feel myself justifying this cast on, you guys. And then I'm gonna be spread too thin. Oi. Anyway, it's fine. I'll figure it out. It's fine. But here's the deal. I'm a finisher. I don't let projects languish for too long, for the most part. And then if I do, there's usually a reason, and then I need to rip it out or find some way to shortcut it, which is my favorite thing. And sometimes, yeah, that happens. Like I was just thinking, I have this sweater that I showed you guys once, I think, and I decided not to do the sleeves, but I haven't done anything. I ripped out the one sleeve that I had made, but I haven't done anything to redeem it so far. Anyway, as I boast about how I finish everything, I'm remembering the things I haven't finished. So anyway, we shall see. Again, I love Instagram since I've become a knitter, because there's just so much gorgeous inspiration and it's just pure joy. There's no double edge, right? Like with fitness or beauty or celebrities, there's always this double edge that this person's life is like highly curated and managed to look so perfect, and it's absolutely not a representation of them. And then you're comparing yourself, that whole thing. I just don't feel like we have that in the knitting world. It's just pure joy. And if there is that, I don't want a part of it. So don't tell me if there is. But I don't know. I just love when I find inspiration through other people's projects. And Linda always inspires me. She inspired me to do my ranunculus in a similar colorway to hers. And it's one of my most cherished pieces I've ever knit. So, there's just those people that inspire you. So the stripe test, Jan, y'all, stay tuned. Will she succumb? Will she stay strong? Nobody knows. I do have to say, if at Lula Faye, 6 and 7 fibers left some like blush pink yarn in this base from their trunk show, it's all over and I'm going to buy it. Okay? Don't judge me. I'm a good person. All right. Shockingly, that is all the knitting content I have. We're at 30 minutes. That means I've got time to ramble on about other things. If you have no desire to listen to me ramble on, off you go. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you next time. If you would like to hear about my trip to Vegas, let's do this. As you know, if you watched my previous episode, my family and I went to Las Vegas last weekend. It was crazy. It was magical. It was so much fun. I love having kids at an age to do these things and have these adventures. It's the best. Like, they shared their own room this time. Excuse me. My throat is dry. So they shared their room, and my husband and I shared a room because we couldn't get adjoining rooms. And I was kind of concerned that they would drive each other crazy and get on each other's nerves. And they actually got along so beautifully. They didn't fight at all. And it was just so adorable to see them, kind of fend for themselves and come up with their own rituals and hysterical. Like they had a thing of Pringles, and every morning before we met, they would eat 4 Pringles each, which is so gross and terrible, but so hysterical and adorable at the same time. My husband and I were cracking up at that. But anyway, on to more Vegas-y things. I haven't been to Las Vegas in 10 years at least. And where to begin? I mean, I live in a very small town in even further out from the crowded area of Boulder. And I feel like I haven't seen as many people as I saw in Vegas in the last 5 years of my life. It was just insane. It was very overwhelming, but also really fun and talk about people watching. Woo! And we walked around the strip, and the kids were just it was overwhelming. They'd never seen anything like it, and it was just really fun to experience it with them. We went to see Jerry Seinfeld. He did stand up there, and y'all, You know, those things in your life, like those events in your life where you're like building it up in your mind and you're old enough to know most of the time when you've built something up in your mind, it's not going to live up to the hype you've created. This was not one of those times. It was hysterical, like unbelievably hysterical. It was at Caesar's Palace at the Coliseum Theater, and it was huge. And I just am it is unbelievable how someone can be so funny that they stand on stage by themselves in a black suit with a microphone and nothing else and make thousands of people just die laughing for an hour and a half. Like it's incredible. It was truly, truly incredible. I haven't laughed that hard for that like extended period. It was like a workout. I was crying, like tears were running down my face. I was like eating Sour Patch Kids with my, Sour Patch Kids with my kids, drinking a little margarita. It was like the best hour and a half of my freaking life. I truly, truly, it was, I screamed when he walked out. It was so good. And of course, the guy next to me did not laugh the whole time, like just sat there. Stone cold sat there. I was like, either this guy is deaf or a serial killer and we're all going to die. And being the United States, you never know. So luckily we lived to tell the tale, and he just, I guess he just isn't a huge Seinfeld fan, which like, why would you go to a Seinfeld stand-up? Like anyway, whatever. Maybe he was dying inside, but he's just really chill. I don't know. But it was just the best. It was so, 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 so funny. Seinfeld has not lost one bit of his from the back in the day when he had a show. He's brilliant. He looked incredible. I mean, he literally looks like he's been frozen in time, and not in like a creepy weird way, like in an absolutely, like he's just living his best life. So, oh, it was amazing. We also saw Blue Man Group, which was absolutely mind-blowing. Like, it was hilarious, and it's all this drumming and music, and it was amazing. I highly recommend, if you've never seen Blue Man Group, if you ever have a chance, because I know they play in New York and Vegas, like it's a lot easier to see them than it would be to see Seinfeld, but highly recommend that. It was amazing and colorful, and just, you know how I feel about color. So anything with color is just, I'm here for it. We also saw Cirque du Soleil, the show O, which was mind-blowing. I think my kids were just like the whole time, like jaws on the floor. Just the pure athleticism and creativity, and it just blows your mind, because the stage is like, it's water. So they're like diving and doing all these acrobatics into the water, out of the water, fire. It's Cirque du Soleil is crazy. It just feels like suprahuman, It doesn't feel like things that normal people should be able to do. But anyway, it was 3 of the most like joy-filled fun days. We ate incredible food. It was just, so good. But you know what? I couldn't get home soon enough. By the end, I felt like I wanted to take my lungs out and like scrub them in the sink with some dish soap. That's just like inhaling all the smoke. Just so strange feeling when you're not used to that. And it was overwhelming, and we were all just exhausted by the time we got home. But it was so joyful. I had so much fun. It is definitely a place like I would go again with my kids to see another round of shows in a couple of years. Not every year. I'm not going to go that far, but it was super, super fun. So that was that. What else? Sorry, I'm going to scroll up because I will forget, and then later I'll be mad that I didn't talk about what I wanted to talk about. How is your summer going? How are you moms holding up? I feel like at the end of the summer, we all deserve to buy new yarn and cast on a new project as a reward for surviving, okay? Does anybody have any idea why we have like 3 months of vacation? I mean, I truly find this mystifying. I don't know. I know a lot of you don't live in the United States, so maybe you're lucky and that is not how your education system works. But I truly have no idea why these children need this much time off of school. Like, it makes no sense. I'm ranting now, but it makes no sense. Anyway, so we have to cobble together activities for everybody so they don't drive each other crazy and drive me crazy. So basically, I've just, like I said, a glorified Uber driver. I'm not complaining, okay? So don't come at me that I'm complaining. I love my children more than anything in this world. If you know me, if you've watched my shows, you know they are everything. However, no, these people should not be at home all the time. It's like, mama, 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 mama. I can't, I feel like sometimes I'm gonna go crazy. Like yesterday was one of those days. It was just one of those days where like everything was chaotic and going sideways, and me included. And I was just overwhelmed and praying for it to be September. But anyway, today's a better day. Every day, it's different. Some days are going to be rough. Other days are going to be fun. But I just want you to know, if you are on that struggle bus of summer, I feel you. You are a good mother. You are going to make it. And when you don't know what to do with your kids, turn on Queer Eye. Remember, we talked about this last week. It's the best parenting hack, and I'm not even kidding. Yesterday, my daughter, we don't have to talk about it. She was like faking illness to get out of going to camp. And I was like, you know what? Let's watch Great British Bake Off. So we sat down, and that was what we did in the afternoon for an hour and a half, and it was glorious. And I don't feel guilty about it because we have to do what we need to do to just survive at this point. So anywhoozleby, that is my summer. It is, it's hard. It's hard when you're a full-time mom to like be giving. And it's not in the like intellectual way of work. It's like in this weird physical digging deep into the patient's well that you never even knew you have to parent. It's like, it's just very primal, right? Getting through parenting like this. And I just think if you are struggling and then you feel guilty about struggling, that's totally me. And let me tell you, we're doing just fine. If we are feeling guilty about not loving every 24-hour day with our children, it doesn't make us bad. It makes us human. And everybody needs to have alone time and solitude and time to just be themselves without being in relation to anybody else, especially your children. So if it feels weird to you to always be with your children, just know you are not alone. I am with you. It is a miracle we ever make it through, but we do. And we keep knitting, and maybe someday, I know like someday when they're older, I'll look back fondly. But that doesn't mean that everything that's happening now is fun. It just doesn't. So anyway, that probably made no sense, but it was my weekly rant for you, as I tend to bring on the reg. And that is it. Oh, books. Let's talk about books real quick. I finished that book I was reading called What She Knew. I told you last week it was like $3 on Libro FM as an audio book on Libro FM. And so I bought it without even listening to the sample, and it was so good. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. If you like, like a mystery kind of books that are well written and characters are interesting, I really recommend it. I don't even remember who wrote it, to be honest, because it wasn't like some well-known book. It was just something I saw as a recommendation. It was a cheap buy, so I bought it, and it actually paid off. So now I don't know what to read. Somebody sent me the recommendation of Remarkably Bright Creatures, which I have seen everywhere. And when she sent it to me, so I was resisting it because this is going to make me sound absolutely crazy, and I'm sorry if it does, because I know I'm not going to be able to explain this, and it's just going to end up making me sound crazy. But I'll take the risk. It's fine. If you're still here 45 minutes in, you're probably okay with my crazy. One of the main characters is an octopus, I think. And I have this thing with octopi. That sounds weird. But so does octopuses. God, what is happening? Okay, I have a thing with octopi. They're so darling and smart. Like, I think they might be smarter than me. And I just, every time anything comes on about octopi, I have that feeling in my heart that I have, like, with my animals, like with my own dogs, like, and the fact that people eat them, it's just very upsetting to me. And then anytime, like, I know what's going to happen. I'll read this book and I'll be really attached to this octopus. And then anytime I see octopus on a menu, I'll be like in a weepy, hysterical fit inside and have to act normal at the restaurant. So I want to read this book, but I'm scared it's going to make me really sad for all the octopi that aren't being treated as they should be treated. Okay, this is officially a safe space because I fear that made me sound like a crazy person, but that is truly how I feel. However, this book got such great reviews and the cover is so bright and beautiful that I feel like I should read it and that I know I'd love it, and I'm just gonna have to be strong and donate to some like octopus fundraising support group or something. Anyway. So that is that. That is what is on my agenda. Oh, this is never going to end. It's going to be like a 2-hour podcast because I keep forgetting the things I was going to tell you. This is the last thing, I swear. Next week, my kids are going to camp. Oh my gosh. I just got done telling you how they're driving me crazy by constantly being around. But next week they are going to sleepaway camp. But my son is going for 2 weeks and my daughter is going for 1. They are going to the same camp. So even though it's my daughter's first time ever going to sleepaway camp, I am feeling good about it just because he's going to be there. And he loved it so much last summer. And this place is so wonderful and the people are so wonderful that I feel great about it. Like, I know she's going to have more fun than she's going to know what to do with. And I'm really looking forward to the break, you guys. Like, I am looking forward to not caretaking. Do you know what I mean? Like, not having to walk dogs, not having to cook, not having to do laundry, not having to be like, did you do your math? Did you do your this? Did you do your that? I just want to be me and not worry about anybody else. I really am looking forward to that. So while they're there, so we drop them off and then we keep driving and we're going to go to Aspen for 7 days because that's just how long my daughter's going to be at camp. So it's perfect. I think if we had to come home and I had to be at home without both of them, that would be really, really, really hard for me. But because we're going to go to this magical, beautiful place and go hike and I'm going to knit a ton and all that, I'm not actually too worried about myself yet. But let's circle back next week when I might, be struggling. But it's okay to miss people. It's okay. Even your children, like, they need to learn to cope without you and we need to learn to cope without them. And everybody can come together and share all their glorious adventures and have found some growth and maturity. And it's great. So I'm really excited about that. And that is why I was thinking about the striped S-Jan, that like taking this, this color, changing color project on a road trip is because it's a lot of driving. It'll be like 5 or 6 hours that first day. And that's a lot of knitting time. And I know it would drive me crazy to be having to do that in work on the painting bricks shawl in the car. So maybe that's my excuse and I'll take it and do it. So anyway, you will find out. I'm really, really aiming to tape, even if it's a really short podcast while I'm there, because like I said, no caretaking. So I get to do what I want to do. And there's nothing I like to do more than chit chat with you guys, truly. I will leave you here. I hope you enjoyed today's blather. It was particularly nonsensical, but you know, you get what's in my mind, and sometimes it is a hodgepodge. I hope you have a fabulous weekend, and please leave me a comment with whatever your thoughts are. If I didn't respond to you last week, it's only because I wasn't here and I'm trying to catch up, but I love your comments. I love just knowing what you're thinking, and it keeps us connected outside of this one-way chat. So anyway, have a lovely weekend, and I will see you next time. Bye.